They say love is simple, just two people connecting, trusting, and feeling safe. But what if it's not always that easy? Sometimes love feels a little bit more complicated. What if sometimes love means facing your own fears, learning to open up when you're rather close off? Healing begins when we stop hiding from the parts of ourselves that are afraid and start holding them with the same love we wish to find in others. I've been growing a lot lately, and what I've been learning is that healing is messy and slow. It's about small steps, honest moments, and being patient with yourself. So, today I want to share what I'm discovering on this journey. Hello, my love, and welcome to the third episode of my series called The Avoidant Paradox. In this series, I share my struggles, healing, and lessons from living with avoidant attachment for more than 25 years. But now I'm slowly learning how to build healthier and more secure relationships after being in therapy for many years. In this episode, I want to talk about what I do on my healing journey, specifically how I'm working on healing and rewriting the internal dialogue around avoidant attachment. So, the past few weeks have been intense. I have been opening myself up to people romantically, and whoa. A lot has happened, and honestly, it happened quite naturally, but it was so overwhelming and I was feeling a lot. And I was like, hey, I think this is a good opportunity to share with y'all what's happening inside of me. And at first, I was a little bit scared or a little bit mad at myself because I was like, why am I feeling so much? But then all of a sudden, it hit me and I was like, whoa, I have never felt so much in my life before. And it made me reflect and think about the fact that I'm growing. And I realized that it's actually a good sign because I haven't felt so much. I've never allowed myself to feel so much. And this time I could just let it be, let it come and reflect. So while I was messy and all figuring things out, I have learned two important things. And I think this will help you, especially if you're struggling with an avoidant attachment style. So the first thing will be outside of my romantic life, often people tell me that I am a perfectionist. And I see this too because it shows in different parts of my life. At work, I like to be someone who does her work good, does her work almost perfect, and I don't take like low effort for an answer. But in romantic relationships, I've been seeing that it shows in a way that I'm very critical of myself. So for example, I want to be a good partner. I want to be a beautiful partner. I want to be a supportive partner. I have a lot of high expectations if it comes to me being a partner to someone. But those expectations, I also have it towards people who are coming into my life, especially partners, right? So don't get it twisted. Having standards is a good thing because it filters out the people who are not meant for you or who are not aligned with you. But I have been noticing that the high expectations I have, if it comes to other people, is also a way of self-protection barrier because no one can live up to those expectations, which makes me justify why I am alone. And that sounds weird, right? But that's my comfort zone because a lot of people, they can't be alone and they want people around them. For us avoidants, our struggle is not in being alone like a lot of people are. Our real challenge is connection, so letting people in. The second one, while I was dating and talking to people, I have noticed that I was so afraid of losing my freedom. And if I'm talking about losing my freedom, I'm not talking about, oh, I don't want to commit, I want to date multiple people, I can't be loyal, I'm not faithful. No, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. If I have learned something from my last relationship is that I can definitely be faithful and I am a faithful and loyal person. But I do understand if you're not knowing what's going on inside of me or inside of avoidant people, that it can come across as a little bit shady or a little bit unclear. Many avoidants struggle with this because giving up your freedom feels like giving up control over your life and your emotions to someone else. And we have learned in a young age that that isn't safe. And let me be very honest, I've been catching myself hesitating to speak out loud or to say out loud that I'm ready for a serious relationship because I feel like the moment I say it out loud, I am admitting that I am ready to give up my freedom, which to an extent it is, because being with someone means that you are both responsible for each other, because the life decisions that you are making now are not entirely your own anymore. Everything you do now can affect the other person you are in a relationship with. I feel like this isn't a negative thing, because if you think about it, you are both sharing your life with each other. And being able to do that in a healthy way, you both need to trust each other. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. It feels scary. Am I the only one? Please let me know in the comments. And that brings me to point number 3. What I've learned in my healing journey so far is that as an avoidant attached, there is an important question you need to answer. See, when you don't have a secure attachment, there is usually a core belief that you have since childhood that needs to be uncovered and understood. Because this belief shapes you as an adult, and only by facing it, you can begin to heal. At a young age, I learned to always choose myself, because if I choose myself, I know that I will always be in good hands. So, you weren't born as an avoidant. Chances are something happened in your childhood and that made you realize that you have to protect yourself. And then something happened again and you needed to protect yourself. So now you have a core belief that you have to protect yourself. And because of that, you have developed what they call a coping mechanism, which is your mind and body's way to keep you safe when things feels hard or scary. It gets triggered. So for example, when I was young and something happened, I have learned myself to keep a distance or to put myself out of a situation. So now when something happens in a way that I have to connect with people and I'm feeling scared, the first thing that I do is disconnect from people. And this is something that has helped me when I was young, but now that I'm an adult, it doesn't serve me anymore because it's in the way of me getting real connections with other people. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. So every time when you let someone close and you're acting this way, it's not the real you see now that is acting this way, but it's actually the little you inside that you have been suppressing and haven't healed from yet, which is not feeling safe. I hope this one also makes sense. Because the little you, the little one inside of you, everyone has a little you, is scared and is trying to protect herself. And listen, love, the only way to heal this part of yourself is to acknowledge the little kid inside of you and ask her or him, what is he or she so afraid of? What is the thing he or she is trying to protect herself from? Why is she scared? And don't get it twisted. This can be a hard question you have to ask yourself because it forces you to dive deep into yourself. So you are forced to sit with yourself and face the things that you have been running from. And once you understand this, you can comfort that little child inside of you. So let's say you're seeing a random child on the street, or your brother, your sister, a sibling, and they are crying. They are crying very hard. Are you gonna just pass by? Or are you gonna walk towards them and give them a hug? Most people will go towards them and will ask, what's wrong? Give them a hug, trying to comfort them. The way I'm saying this now about a random kid, it makes sense, right? Yes, and that's exactly the way how you should treat your inner child. This is what healing means, going back and comfort her, and that's exactly what your inner child needs. Acknowledgement, kindness, and healing. So a quick recap. To heal, you need to understand why that little kid is protecting themselves, what fear or belief is causing that stress. Learn to offer yourself the same compassion and patience you would give a child. Keep practicing this regularly, even when it feels awkward or uncomfortable. And trust me when I say this is going to feel awkward at first, but trust me, the more you're doing it, the easier it becomes. Go back and make sure that she's okay. And it sounds so strange, but it is what it is. This is what you need to do to start your healing process. Acknowledge her, acknowledge him. It is what it is. It's giving, I'm healing and I'm standing on business. So I want to give some real life examples of something that happened recently. I'm learning to respond differently to my old avoidant attachment patterns. Yeah, speaking it into existence because your girl have been growing. Yeah. So not long ago, I was talking to someone and I was finding myself in a situation where I was feeling overwhelmed. And the first thing I wanted to do was pull away. just like ghost mode and pull away. And because I'm so in tune with myself and I'm feeling a lot lately, the first thing I was thinking about was, okay, Bettien, what are you feeling exactly now? Like, what is the reason why you want to pull away? Like, why are you feeling overwhelmed? And the reason why I was feeling overwhelmed has to do with the fact that I feel like because something in me was triggered and the old patterns were coming up, right? Ghosting, shutting down, avoiding the discomfort. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? I am feeling overwhelmed, so I need space. And I have to set clear boundaries instead of not saying anything and leaving. And I texted him and I was very clear. I was like, you know what? I've been talking to you for a few days. I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I think I need a little space. And what I've learned in therapy is that you have to find a middle ground. You can't say I need space to someone who's connecting with you and you're like, I need space forever, or I'll see how much space I need, and let them just hanging, right? And he was like, okay, what kind of space do you need? Like, do you need a few days, a few hours? So I was like, okay, just give me, let's say 2 days. And he was like, okay, that's all right. And then I asked him, like, what do you need from me in those 2 days to feel a bit comforted, if that makes sense? Like, you have to find a middle ground, Also, a lot of the times, if I'm speaking for myself, I get overwhelmed because there's a lot to process. And what a lot of people don't know is that the moment I connect, I am also at the same time fighting old patterns and fighting old traumas, right? So new expressions are costing me energy, but also the fighting of my traumas and old patterns. So I feel like a secure person or a normal person, I don't know, I'm just saying it black and white now to just make it clear. I don't think it costs them so much energy to connect as me as an avoidant, because the connecting process goes differently. Does that make sense? So normally when you're not aware of yourself, the feeling is so overwhelming because you don't know what the feeling exactly is. So I still feel overwhelmed, but now I know it's my body communicating to me that I have to do something. And I've learned in this situation that I have to take a step back, communicate that to the other person, take my time. And when I say my time, I'm not talking about a whole week, 1-2 days max, and go internal and ask myself questions. And in that way, you are processing, but you are also learning yourself as an avoidant, a new pattern of how to navigate through your overwhelming feelings instead of pulling away, shutting down, and ghosting. So the tools that have been helping me heal are prayer and connection with Jesus. Guys, this has been the heart of my healing journey, because being honest to God forced me to also be honest with myself, and eventually also made me open up to other people I care about. And it gives me strength, but also peace at the same time, even if things get hard. Number 2, journaling and self-questioning. Ask yourself questions. I write down my feelings and I ask myself honest questions like, what am I really, really afraid of? Or what part of me is hurting right now? Because this helps me uncover the deeper reasoning why I'm acting a certain way and brings me clarity. Number 3, I know that not everyone does this, and this is something you have to decide for yourself, but fasting also really helped with my healing journey. Why? Because I was forced to be still. Choosing to fast regularly creates a space in me that I'm forced to be quiet. It helps me feel my emotions fully, because believe it or not, a lot of us, we eat out of emotional stress, out of sometimes we are busy. Like, sometimes it's the little things that we do, but we don't notice because we are just doing it. Don't look at me, look at yourself. And number 4, I think this is one of the most important things: patience and self-compassion. Healing doesn't happen overnight. I have been going through therapy, I think, more than almost 6 years. The beginning of the years, I was seeing a lot of things, as in what my therapist was saying, but in my mind, it wasn't connecting yet. It took me a few years because I was also young. I went to therapy the first time when I was, I think, 21. But I'm really reminding myself that I have to be gentle and patient with myself, because a lot of the times people don't realize that, let's say if you're 35 and now you're deciding to start your healing journey, that means that you have to reparent yourself of patterns that you have been doing for 35 years. That's long. And that doesn't mean that you can't change. You can definitely change and you can definitely heal. It's never too late to heal. But keep in mind that it's not an overnight thing. And if you fall back, it's okay. Try again the next day. It is what it is. It's part of life. Sometimes I cry, sometimes I stumble. It's all part of the process. I want to encourage you to ask yourself the question, what wound inside of me is the little me still protecting? Because healing begins with the awareness, the willingness to offer yourself reassurance and kindness. The more you soften towards yourself, the softer and more gentle the world around you will feel. And I'm still on my healing journey too, and I'll keep sharing the deepest part of my healing process if y'all want that. And if you want me to hit certain topics or talk about certain topics, please let me know. I will see what I can do and I will try to help because I love to help. Thank you so much for being here and walking this path with me. Mwah.